This is the Graph Silentio rainwater harvesting unit. What I'm going to do is just talk through the different components involved and how the system works. So we've basically got a pump that sits outside of the rainwater tank, mounted to the wall within a property, and that pump is controlled by this pump controller just here, the Control-Matic. Now, the pump is supplied by water from two different sources, and that is controlled by this three-way valve just here. So we're either sucking water out of the underground tank via this pipe just here and into the pump that way, or we can utilise mains water, which is stored in this reservoir at the back of the pump. So we basically have a mains water filling valve just here, and a mains water connection is made to that. And that ensures that we've then got a tank full of mains water where we can then use mains water during long dry spells where we've used the rainwater that's in the underground tank, when we've used that up. So the way the pump controller works is basically when the pressure drops to 1 bar, because we've flushed a toilet or opened an outside tap, the pump will then start to run. And then when we detect that there's no flow of water going through the pump controller, then it shuts off the power to the pump. Now, we have this control panel just here, and that basically displays a level percentage here, and that level percentage is the water level in the underground tank. And then this control panel can then be used to control when the tank switches between rainwater and mains water. So the default setting is once we drop to 10% in the underground tank, we will then have a little yellow light that lights up by this tap symbol, and the three-way valve will switch, so we then take mains water from this reservoir, and then when we get back up to 12%, this will then basically switch the three-way valve back to the rainwater position, so we can then use the rainwater that we've collected off the roof of the property. The control panel also controls some additional components that are supplied with the system. They can be both a filter wash, and also you can have an additional submersible pump that helps push the water, the rainwater, to the unit if you've got a distance of more than 15 metres between the rainwater tank and the Silentio unit. One of the additional components that's supplied with the Silentio unit is this reversible flow filter. Now this is a fine filter, it's 120 microns, and it just prevents any fine sediment that's actually come from the underground tank through the pump from going any further than this point, so that we don't sort of pump any sediment to the washing machine, outside taps, toilets, etc. Now there's a cleaning mechanism to this filter, so that any debris that's accumulated within the housing just here, we can basically open up that filter and flush any of that debris down a waste pipe to the drain, and that just helps keep that filter clean. Then if we let go of the button, obviously that closes, and basically then the pump, which has run to supply the water through the filter, then shuts off again. Now I can just use this to demonstrate how the pump works, and then you can hear it running. So basically, when we create a demand by opening a tap or flushing a toilet, the pressure will slowly drop on the control panel, and once it gets to 1 bar, that's when the pump then kicks in to supply water to the appliances. Now, when the toilet has then refilled, or we've closed the tap, basically this pump controller will detect that there's no flow of water flowing through, and at that point it then shuts off the power to the pump and the pump stops running. The system then sits idle until we create another demand, and then the pump will then turn back on again to supply the water. Another component that's supplied with the Silentio unit is this OptiClean filter and a filter wash that is mounted on the filter housing within the tank. Now, within the tank we have this stainless steel mesh filter, and that can gradually get blocked up with any debris, leaves and things from the roof. So periodically it benefits to actually wash and clean that filter. Now, The control panel here can control, let's say every 7 days for 30 seconds, we open a solenoid valve here to allow water to flow and spray and clean the filter. So I'll just demonstrate that by using a manual menu just here. We've got hand rinse cleaner. If I change that to yes, we can then see the solenoid valve opens and the filter is now being cleaned by this shower head. And then when we stop that, basically the water stops flowing and the pump will then stop running again. So that's all automatic. It just saves you as the homeowner from having to remove the cover on the lid, remove the filter, clean it yourself and pop it back down in. That can all be done automatically.